Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. So this is an interesting week for the market. For the most part, Modern and Legacy are pretty tame, not a whole lot of big changes there. However, Standard's got some movers, mostly due to the fact that the blue-white flash deck is really taking up a lot of space in the metagame right now all of a sudden. So as you can imagine, a lot of the key cards from that deck are going up in value. Having said that, quickly before we get started, just a reminder, if you check out the description below, you're going to see some links to our Amazon affiliate store, and if you make any purchases through any of those links, a small percentage comes back to help out the channel. Always appreciated, and all the cards that you see featured in all the market watches will be available in that store if you want to pick up any singles, so definitely check those out. Now let's get started with Standard, and we're going to look at the top 5 cards that lost value this week. What you're going to see here are mostly cards that are still coming down from a very high pre-release price, or a couple cards that did very well on the Pro Tour, and because of the Pro Tour hype, saw a huge spike, and now they're starting to stabilize. Coming in number 5 is Nissa Vital Force, down 75 cents to 10.03. Now, Nissa is seeing some standard play, but it's not in large amounts, and it's only in a few decks, so I think $10 is about a fair price for this card at this point. Metallurgic Summonings, down 90 cents to 3.81. This one's kind of funny. Right before the Pro Tour, there was a budget deck that was very popular for at least a short period of time, and this was a linchpin card for it. This card spiked up to $10 at one point, but of course, once the Pro Tour decks came out, people kind of shifted their attention to those decks. This started going down, now down to $3, $4. I think, again, that's probably a fair price for this card. Coming in number 3 is Chandra, Torch of Defiance, down $1.15 to 20.20. Well, she's not dropping as steeply as she was, I will say that. But again, Chandra just still hasn't found her foothold yet in the standard format, which is a little bit awkward. I still think this is a good card. I still think the power level is there. It just needs the right time in the meta. The set's going to be in the meta for 2 years. At some point, this card is going to see play. So my thought is, if you can find these for like $15, which probably is relatively reasonable at this point, I'd start thinking about picking them up. Coming in number 2 is Torrential Gearhulk, and of course this was kind of the darling of the Pro Tour a few weeks ago. Because of that, it saw a huge spike, went up to close to $30. Since then, it's been gradually coming down. Now, it's a card that's going to continue to see lots of play going forward, but the fact of the matter is there's going to be a lot of Kaladesh cards opened as well, especially considering we don't get another standard set till the end of January. And this will continue to go down as more copies are entering the market. So I'd hold off if you can, buying it now for $19, $20 and wait till maybe it gets around 15 or so. I think in a few weeks it'll probably get down there. Etherworks Marvel, almost the same story here. This is down $1.39 to 7.09. Another big card that came out of the Pro Tour, and it saw a big spike. Now it's just stabilizing. All right, let's look at the cards that have gone up in value this week. Coming in number 5 is Summary Dismissal, up 34 cents to 2.45. This is one of the key cards in the white-blue flash deck, and because of that, you're seeing a small increase here. Now, you will notice the cards going up in value this week aren't necessarily going up in value a lot, but they are good indicators of what a lot of players are turning their attention to, and of course, that particular deck is gaining a lot of popularity. Coming in number 4 is Wandering Fumarole. This is up 36 cents to 6.65. Of course, this is more of an is-it card, but again, still seeing a fair amount of play in the format for sure. Coming in at number 3 is Archangel Avacyn, up 49 cents to 19.28. This is a card that's been steadily dropping over the last number of months as more and more packs of Shadows got opened, and also as the metagame, even though she was still pretty popular in Standard, but you started to see less and less copies of her as time went on. However, now we have the white-blue flash deck, and this is another key card in it, so expect more attention to be turned again to this card. I expect her to settle in around $20 pretty evenly. Coming in number 2 is Grimflyer, up 92 cents to $20, and Delirium is still a force in the meta as well, and because of which I think this card will hold pretty steady around 20. And finally, coming in at number 1, Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, up $1.41 to 31.02. Now, Gideon saw a big boost after the Pro Tour because it was spotlighted very favorably during the Pro Tour. Also, though, this is a part of the white-blue flash deck. So you put those two things together, and you have a card that's going to continue to gain a little more momentum. Also, on top of that, it was recently announced that Battle for Zendikar was going to stick in the meta for another year. That allowed a lot of players to feel a little more confident in their purchase of this card, considering it was one of the more high-end cards from that block. Put all of that together and you got yourself a $31 card. I do think this is going to start sliding back down at this point, though. A lot of Battle for Zendikar product was open, and there was a little bit of a scramble for this card because of its performance at the Pro Tour, combined with the fact that it's in this new deck as well. And now people are starting to get their copies, so I do think this will start to slide back down again. So if you're thinking of selling extra copies or something like that, this might be the time to do it. All right, let's move on to Modern. And like I said at the top of the show, we're not going to see a whole lot of movement here, but let's start off with the cards that lost value this week. Coming in number 5 is Auriok Champion, down $1.23 to $31.74. Number 4 is Crucible of Worlds. This is the 10th edition version, down $1.67 to $60.26. A lot of folks are hoping to see a reprint, myself included, in Modern Masters 2017. I think it's important to note that Modern Masters 2017 is coming out in March and not May this time around. So it's really not that far off. We're going to start seeing previews of the cards in probably just a couple months from now. So when you think about it that way, yeah, people are starting to get a little hesitant to make investments in big cards since they don't know what's going to be reprinted at this point. Now, having said that, there's a chance we could see Crucible of Worlds. I kind of have a feeling, though, they may save this for a future Eternal Master set because it just feels a little more like an Eternal card than a Modern card, unfortunately. But regardless, this desperately needs a reprint somewhere. Coming in at number 3 is Snapcaster Mage, down $1.94 to $46.85. Now, if there's two things I'm relatively certain of, at least as certain as you can be when you're talking about WotC, I would say Modern Masters 2017 will feature Snapcaster Mage and Liliana of the Veil at the Mythic level. I am almost 100% with that, and I think a lot of people feel the same way, and that's why this card is going to continue to lose a little bit of ground over the next few weeks. Coming in at number 2 is Scalding Tarn, down $2.51 to $86.05. Now, some folks think that these could see a reprint in Modern Masters 2017 as far as the enemy fetches. However, my personal feeling is I don't think we're going to see them until a future standard release. I think these will be saved for a standard set that's maybe going to a new plane, that Wizards is a little bit concerned with the marketability of the particular set, that they feel it might need an extra hook, and when that happens, I think that's when we'll see these cards. Don't know when that will be, but that's kind of my feeling on these. Now, you never know, I could be wrong, but I guess the good news is if that is the scenario, then they'll be printed in higher quantities. And that's a big deal, because if they end up in Modern Masters 2017, I'm afraid what will happen is they'll take a small bump down in price, but very quickly they'll recover and go beyond where they are, just because folks that open this more limited product, they may get one copy of this and then feel like, well, it's not as hard for me to get a playset now, and they'll start hitting the secondary market to try to get the extra cards they need to round out playsets, and that's going to cause values to go up. So we'll see what happens. It's hard sometimes to second guess WotC. You never know what they're going to do, but that's just my gut feeling. And coming in number 1 is Tarmogoyf, and this time the Modern Masters version went down $1.97 to $130.14. Modern Masters 2015 went down $2.92 to $130.71. So both the Modern Masters versions are pretty close in price right now, and I do think Tarmogoyf is going to continue to be soft, at least for a little while. We've seen it printed in both of the Modern Masters releases, so there's a good chance we'll see it again. At least that's the speculation right now, and since that's the case, a lot of people are going to be a little hesitant to spend over $100 on this card. Top 5 Modern cards that have gained value this week. Coming in number 5 is Engineered Explosives from 5th Dawn. This is up 80 cents to $49.95. Not a big increase here, but this, as well as the Modern Masters counterpart, have both been really strong in the market. Coming in number 4 is Fetid Heath, up 90 cents to $29.16. Number 3 is Through the Breach, up 96 cents to $44.81. Number 2, Pact of the Titan, up $1.17 to $5.25. And coming in at number 1 is Noble Hierarch. Interesting this week that the Conflux edition is actually increasing less than the Modern Masters 2015 edition, but Conflux is up $1.26 to $62.99. The Modern Masters 2015 up $2.03 to $65.07. Again, hopefully this card gets reprinted in Modern Masters as well at the rare rarity level. This is just a staple in just so many decks, and we really need more copies of this out there for players. All right, let's move on to Legacy. And Legacy is kind of the same story we've seen the last few weeks. Reserve list cards are kind of a big deal still, but there's a couple non-reserve list cards on the list. But you will notice the trend seems to be a lot of collectors are gravitating towards some of these early expansions. And I'm looking at Antiquities, Arabian Nights, Legends in particular. Feels like there's folks maybe trying to just collect these cards, just because of the history perhaps behind them, or because they're trying to collect sets or something like that. But it does feel like a lot of the key cards from those sets have really seen some nice increases over the last number of months, and you're going to see that again in today's countdown. Now, coming in number 5, we'll start with Underground Sea from Unlimited. This one's down 12.25 to 580.45. Coming in number 4 is Angus McKenzie, down 16.32 to 76.42. A little surprised at the drop on this one because, first off, it's a reserve list card from Legends. It's a rare. It sees a lot of Commander play. There's a lot of excitement right now around Commander due to the new Commander products. Kind of felt like this would be going up, if anything, so might be a good time to jump on this one. Coming in number 3 is Jazam Jin, and this is down 1965 to 505.34. Again, this is a very iconic card from Arabian Nights, and it has been going up and down a little bit, but it's really been sticking close to the $500 to $600 range. Number 2 is Tropical Island from Unlimited, down 1975 to 350.40. And finally, coming in at number 1, the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale, down 98.15 to $1,137.88. Even though this does go up and down every single week, it seems to land somewhere around the $1,200 mark. I think that's kind of the going price right now for this card. All right, let's look at the top 5 legacy cards that gained value this week. Coming in number 5 is Serendib Ifrit, and this is up 638 to 160.72. So again, another Arabian Nights card going up in value. This one, however, is not on the reserve list. So if you just want a copy for your cube or something, you can get a copy from Eternal Masters very cheap. Or if you want something interesting, the revised version is also very cheap, and it has a printing error on it. All the copies of this in revised actually have the art and color background for Ifbif Ifrit, so it actually looks like a green card that costs a blue and 2 and has the art from Ifbif. So just an interesting thing if you're trying to get something cheap and just kind of fun for a cube. Coming in number 4 is Serendib Djinn, up 8.82 to 49.99. Now this one is a reserve list card, and this is actually kind of cheap for an Arabian Nights reserve list rare. So again, probably people are catching on to that, and I expect this to continue to go up in value. Coming in number 3 is Wrath of God from Unlimited, up 9.25 to 49.99 this week. Quentin Hoover art on this card is very popular, not only among collectors, but also players. So I kind of expect these old Wraths of God to at least slowly continue to go up in price over time. Coming in number 2 is Bayou, up 14.66 to 284.99, and this again is Unlimited. And finally, number 1 is Candelabra of Tawnos, up 24.50 to 502.49. So this is a popular card with players, but also a card from Antiquities. So I think collectors are jumping on this one as well. All right, having said that, that's the Market Watch for this week. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few months as we get closer, of course, to a new standard release, as well as Modern Masters 2017, which will be coming out shortly after. So I think this is going to be an interesting winter and spring for the market, and I guess we'll kind of stay tuned and see what happens. But until then, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks as always for watching. This video, like all my videos, was made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Even a donation of $1 helps me to keep growing this community and creating better quality content for all of you. Check out our Patreon page for exclusive giveaways and future goals for the channel. If you haven't yet had a chance to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the MTG news, spoilers, set reviews, product openings, or finance videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.